So the first time Presley came to me and signed cereal, and poof, instantly cereal appeared in her hands. You could see it on her face. It was like, oh, sweet, I get it. And she made the connection. If I do a little of this, I'm going to get all of this. I'm going to get what I want in my hands instantly, and I get to watch my mom go berserk. And I, as the mom, was amazed. I thought, hey, this signing stuff really works. And it was easy. So for me, it was just like a switch went off. And I thought, if it was that easy just to teach a couple words and she got it, was able to express her needs and what she wanted, then it's on. So let's talk resources. The very first thing I did, I will be the first to admit that I am neurotic and compulsive, but I ran down to the local library and I checked out every book they had on signing. And no, I'm not kidding. I came home with stacks and stacks of books from the library. Then I ran right back out and I went to my local chain bookstore. And just so you know, they have a whole section, a whole land just for signing books. And I went up and down the rows and I sat on the floor. I stood on chairs and I was pulling things down and asking for help and maxed out my credit card and bought everything I could on signing. Brought it all home and looked at the things that I had and I was like, ugh, oh my gosh, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. It was highly technical, very wordy, and for someone who's ADD like myself, it was not an exciting venture, to say the least. What I had in front of me was not something that was like Oprah's Book of the Month Club by far. What I began thumbing through and looking at were hand-drawn, black and white, flat images that looked like terrible photocopies. And I thought, are you serious? And especially if it had multiple steps or involved motion, they would draw little squiggly lines or arrows, and for me I just thought, no, there's no way, I don't get this. This is not going to work for me. And also, as I looked through all my books, I began to become very confused very quickly because I'm seeing some of them have ASL. I don't even know what those letters mean, but you know, I'm like, okay, look it up, American Sign Language. But then half of the other books had C-sign, exact English language, and I was super confused because I didn't know that there were two forms of sign language, so that was new to me. And I didn't know what that meant, how they were different, and which one would I need or why. So that was confusing, and the whole book thing wasn't working for me anyways. I had stacks of books all throughout the house, and I would see Presley touch something, and I'd go, oh, 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 and I'd go run to the book, and I'd flip through, and I'd alphabetically find it, and I'd look down to use the sign quickly before I forgot, and Presley and the teaching moment were gone. So it was taking way too much time. It wasn't practical, and it just wasn't working for me. So I thought, well, what else could I do? I'm a visual learner, so DVDs. So you know, the exact same process. Run back down to the library, check out every DVD they had for signing, go back to the bookstore, check out the DVDs they had there, and sat and watched all these videos, and I had my remote and I just kept fast forwarding and fast forwarding and fast forwarding, going, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, and realized, you know, after 25 minutes of watching this kiddie sing-along video about little kids jumping and playing in the snow, I realized at the end of the day, that's really not going to help Presley out very much. Just because she knows the sign for snowshoes, that's really not going to help her with her tantrums. And after 25 minutes of one DVD, going through it and realizing I only have maybe one or two words that are totally random, but I might be able to use sometime, this is not going to work for me either. I got to have something a lot quicker. So I moved on to the next thing. And I thought, aha, the internet. So I ran upstairs and, you know, went to the computer and spent hours and hours and hours surfing, you know, the internet, going through all the different sites. I began looking at free downloadable, printable information and materials to have, and oh my gosh, my head was throbbing, my eyes were throbbing, I had a headache, and I sat there reading until I literally had a headache. So there I sat at the end of the day, on my living room floor, surrounded by mounds of books, surrounded by DVDs and cases strewn at my feet and paper from the internet, printables all over. And I was so exhausted and I was so disgusted because at the end of the day, I wasn't any better off than when I started. Was I a fluent signer? No, by far, I was not. And quite honestly, I was overwhelmed at the daunting task ahead of me, realizing this undertaking. And I thought, if I can't figure out how to make sense of this and how to scale it back, I'm just not going to do it. This isn't going to work for me. So as I sat there, I looked up, and with a fresh set of eyes, I began to look around me. And I saw things from Presley's point of view, the things that Presley sees, the things that Presley touches, the things that Presley plays with and interacts with and explores. And I thought, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break this down into word categories that are going to be most helpful to bring about communication for Presley quickly. So that's what I did. Okay, so books, DVDs, and the internet were not working for me. I thought, I've got to come up with something else. I'm a visual learner. I got to think outside the box. What else could I do? So I thought, it's kind of like Winnie the Pooh in his thoughtful spot. I thought, think, think, think. I remembered back to my days when I was a preschool teacher, how we would match and label words and pictures and put them on the toy container for the kids to be able to see and put their things away. It was a great organizational tool, but also very visual. And I thought, that's it. I will make visual signing prompts. So I took all those free printed downloads that I had gotten off the internet, and I cut them up into little squares, and I began taping them all around my house. And I know you think I'm crazy, my family thought I was crazy, but it really worked. So I began going through and sticking signs on everything that I could see throughout the house. And it really helped me a lot because it was a whole lot quicker than going to a book and looking something up. And if it was out, I was seeing it every day in my natural home environment, and it wasn't intimidating. It was very easy to see, and whether I was intentionally looking for the sign or just seeing it throughout my day in my home, somehow, subconsciously, it was getting in because they became quicker. I was able to pick them up, and I learned them quicker. So because they were out and readily available and I could see them, I was able to see them, practice them, and use them with Presley. And I'll give you an example, like on my fruit bowl. I got my oranges, my apples, my bananas. Over here on the chair, again, you can do multiple signs. You can have a chair, you can also have it for sit down. Over here on the door going outside, we've got the door, we also have open, and then outside is a water fountain where you can see the water. So I put multiple signs in various locations, and it helped me a lot. It was, in fact, it was the very thing that helped me bridge the gap between shutdown and moving forward with signing. And I found myself becoming much more calm, much more confident, and using them in a natural setting. So my tip to you is use the internet, use the free downloads, and tape them up on objects in your house so that you can see them, you can practice them, and you can use them. So good luck. I was also fortunate and blessed enough to have people in my life that could be role models for me. At Presley's Special Needs School, the teachers use the C sign for the children there at the school, as well as other parents of special needs children as well who are doing signing. So I was able to watch people who knew it, who were using it, and I would make a list of words and go to school and say, can you show me how to do this? And they were so great and so patient with me. And the nice thing is, like I told you, that the books weren't working, seeing the black and white flat images, I wasn't getting it. So to be able to have them show me with their hand and be able to turn it and see the movement and correctly what it should look like was great for me. And then I could practice it back to them. And they were able to give me immediate feedback and tell me, no, it's a little more like this, or it looks a little more like that. But that gave me tremendous confidence in being able to know that I was doing it correctly, and then I would be teaching Presley correctly. We are fortunate enough to live in a day and age when we have unlimited resources at our fingertips. But learn from me on how not to crash and burn. And for those of you at home taking notes, let's review. Number one, you need to assess your child's need. Determine if your child just needs a tool and a bridge between the silence and emergent language that will be coming, then C-sign possibly might be the way to go for you. It was for us, it worked for Presley, great. But if your child does have a hearing impairment or some other kind of special need, and you're going to be needing ASL, American Sign Language, to be their primary voice and form of communication for the rest of their life, then jump right on into ASL. But either way, all these tips, ideas, and suggestions are universal for both, but just to help you expedite your research and your time in learning, decide which is going to be right for you and your child. That way you can eliminate half of the extraneous information out there. You can focus your search, you can be more productive, and you can get on to learning what's going to be most helpful for you and your child. Tip number 2, visual signing prompts. They worked for me. I think they're going to work for you because they're quick, they're free, and they're convenient, and they're easy. So much faster than having to keep all these resource materials out and about and being able to, flip through, find it. They're out. You're going to see them. If you see them, you're going to use them and practice them, and they're going to become more natural to you. So I highly recommend trying the visual signing prompts. Tip number 3, find a teacher, friend, mentor. Find someone who can come alongside you to help train you, help teach you, and help give you the confidence that you're going to need, that you're learning correctly, and you're also going to teach it correctly. Tip number 4, the phrase use it or lose it was key for me. I found that if I wasn't using it often, then it was gone. I forgot it. So practice, practice, practice. At first, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be challenging, yes, but push through. Keep practicing. Keep using it. And your confidence is going to grow. And the more you're using it spontaneously, the more comfortable you are with it, the more consistent you are with it, the more your child is going to be receptive, and the quicker they're going to pick it up. So keep practicing. And in no time at all, you will be teaching your child the most amazing words and building their vocabulary. So good luck and have fun.